Hello guys, it is Teenage Marvel Fan back with another video, and in today's video, I'll be reviewing the latest episode of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. titled Fear and Loathing on the Planet of Kitson. And guess what guys, remember in my last review for this show, when I was talking about that bald guy? And you can see him on screen here. Well, I found out his name in this episode. His name is Enoch, and he's a robot. Well, in this episode, he literally says that he's not a robot. He's like a chromosome or something like that. I don't know, that's just what I'm gonna call it. But he's basically like, well, basically a robot, but he can't be detected by scanners and stuff. But anyway, so this episode mostly takes place in space. There's literally only one scene that takes place on Earth, as far as I can remember, and I'm gonna go over that first. So at the end of the episode, and don't worry, this doesn't like spoil the rest of the episode. It's just like this literally has nothing to do with the rest of the episode. It's just the last scene of the episode, and it has nothing to do with the rest of it. But Sarge and one of his henchmen, I don't remember his name, Jocko or something like that. Basically the big guy with the beard. They walk outside their trailer truck, and then Sarge has this giant gun, and that's what they were using the rocks, like gems and stuff like that, for. And then he basically just shoots it up at the sky, and then it kind of like forms a force field around the Earth, I think, or it kind of like connects every star, maybe. I'm not too sure. The only thing that makes me think it was the stars is because before they did it, the his henchman guy said, "Hey, I wonder how many stars are out there." So then Sarge says, "Well, I guess we're about to find out." And then he shoots it, and then it kind of connects them, I guess. And that will lead into the next episode, but it literally had nothing to do with the rest of the episode. So right now I'm going to get into one of the two main storylines. So, basically, Fitz and Enoch are, so they made it to Kitson, and they dropped off the workers and people that they had just saved, and then they went to some other planet. And then, once they arrived at that other planet, they got ambushed by these guys, and they were going to steal their Xandarian slugs, and they were going to sell those slugs to get money so that they could buy a cryo chamber, which is obviously their main mission, so that they can freeze Fitz so that in the future he can be reunited with Gemma. The whole thing is kind of confusing. But anyway, so they get ambushed. The Xandarian slugs are stolen by the guys, and then they well, it's hard to explain, but the guys that just ambushed them, they have like a jar of candy, it looks like, and it kind of looks like a bunch of different colors of gum, and then Fitz goes to eat some, but then Enoch tells him not to because it's not consumable to humans, and that actually is important to know for later on in the episode, which I'll explain when I get onto the other main storyline. So then after they get this slug stolen, they have to go into the casino, and because they have to get some money, and those bad guys gave them one coin, so just so they could like have a chance at winning some money at the casino. So then they go in, and Fitz is freaking out because he's like, there's no way that they can win. But then he realizes that Enoch is like a supercomputer, and he can win any of these games. So then Enoch sits down at a game. He starts playing, and then he keeps winning round after round until he has like a buttload of money. But then he decides to go all in, and then his opponent realizes what he's doing, and then he realizes that Enoch is smart at playing the game, but not smart at realizing the other people. And Fitz told Enoch just to stop after that round, but he didn't listen. So then his opponent won, and Enoch lost all their money. So now they have no more money. So then they go sit down at the bar, and they're like, what are we supposed to do now? And then Enoch informs him of one game that they could easily win because it's not about luck or your opponent. It's strictly about strategy and mathematical skills. So then they go there, and and Fitz is going to play, and then so you find out that if Fitz loses, then he's going to be sold into slavery. So he really, not only does he want to win this to get the money, but he wants to win it to not be a slave. So he's playing, and then Enoch said that he would make like a high pitched noise that only humans can hear, and he would do it like one signal for hit and two signals for fold. I think that's what it was, or maybe the other way around. So then basically they were playing, and Fitz was doing really good, obviously because Enoch was helping him. But then all of a sudden, Enoch just like started, like he just passed out, and then that signal that he was sending to Fitz, it just became like a constant blur of sound. So then it was kind of like he just shut off, and so then obviously that's not good. But then everybody evacuates, and then the dealer guy realizes that that Enoch is a robot, or a chromosome, or whatever it's called, and he's been helping Fitz. So then they're thrown into the dungeon, and they're going to be executed. But something I forgot to mention is that during the game, there was one person that cheated. So then they like shot him with a spike, or like a harpoon thing. So then that guy's dead, and then they just threw his body in the dungeon. So now they're trapped in there with that body, and Fitz is freaking out even more now. But then after a lot of arguing and stuff, eh, after like Enoch gets done like being depressed and stuff because like he failed, he informs Fitz that he was shut off manually. So there's other chromosomes or whatever kind of robot he is there around them, and they're coming for them. So they need to get out of there quickly. And then they smelt something weird, and Fitz asked what the smell was. And then they looked over at the body of that guy, and then Enoch mentioned that whatever kind of alien species he is, his blood is made out of 75% sulfur. And when you add a spark to that, it goes boom. So then Enoch does his weird robot sparky thing, and he gives a spark to the, well, like they rip the arm off the guy, and then they just rub it on the door, which is kind of gross, but also a really smart plan. So then they put a spark on it, and the door blows open. And I'll continue talking about this after I finish talking about the storyline, because that is where they connect. There. So the other part of the storyline is about Gemma Simmons, Daisy, Piper, and that other guy that I forgot the name of. Yeah, I'm really not good with names on this show because, like I've said before, I just started watching the show last year. So yeah, Basically, they're still looking for Fitz, and last time we saw them, they went into this system because Gemma knew that he would be here. So then they're there, and they go to Kitson because that's where they think that he is. So then they arrive, and obviously the rest of the team is still mad at her because they wanted to go back to Earth, and Daisy is the leader, and she literally gave Gemma an order, and she disobeyed it just so they could go to Kitson. So then they go there, and then they get a communication thing from the I don't even know what to call it, inspector of the planet, I guess, and he basically says that they're coming to Kitson, and that they're going to board their ship so that they can be inspected. So then Daisy's like, "Oh, we're just leaving. Um, it we Well, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. Just basically, she said that they were leaving and there was a mistake that they were going there and stuff. But then they said that, oh, it's too late to get you out of the system. We have to inspect you now. So then they get off the ship and they start getting inspected. And then it basically says that they're free to go. But then, of course, Gemma asks the guy, "Have you seen uh, Leopold Fitz?" And then she shows him a picture, and then the inspector guy starts getting freaked out and looks all worried, and then he says, "You shouldn't have said that name." And then a guy walks out from behind the corner, which you never really find out his name in the episode, but he's played by Neil Patrick Harris, so I'm pretty much just gonna call him that for the rest of this review. And he's basically a bounty hunter. And so he's hunting for Fitz. And then he starts shooting at them because he thinks that they know where he is. Which kind of doesn't make sense because they literally just asked where he was. So how would they know where he is if they didn't, if they were asking where he was? But anyway, so there's a shoot off, but then that guy that I forgot the name of, apparently he stayed on the ship, and then he gets off and he just knocks out Neil Patrick Harris. So then they get back on their ship and they handcuff him, and then they talk to the inspector guy and ask him where Fitz would have gone, and then he tells them the planet that well him he tells them that the ship that was supposed to have him in it, that was supposed to arrive, turned around when it got well, it came to their planet and then it left quickly, and then he told them where Fitz went. So then they go to that planet, and then they find those same guys that ambushed them, and then they start asking them where Fitz went, and then they whip out their guns, and then they're like, "Give us all your money." So then Quake's like, no." So then she uses her powers and breaks his finger in half. So obviously he's in pain. And then he tells them what happened, what they did to Fitz, and where he went. And then that guy that I forgot the name of, he sees the jar of candy or gum, and then he's like, "Hey guys, I'm starving. Let's eat some of this." And if you remember earlier, Enoch said that that was not consumable to humans, and well, it is consumable. It's just not a good idea because it basically gets you drunk. But all of them eat it except for Piper, I think. Um, so then Piper and that guy that I forgot the name of, they go back and stay on the ship. And then Daisy and Gemma, they go out to find Fitz. So they go to the casino. And then they're walking in. And then so like I said, it's basically they're drunk. So they're hallucinating. And they're like really weird. They're like, "Oh, look, it's a puppy. Do you remember when we met?" No, me either. So yeah, they're basically like super out of it, and I thought this was kind of pointless, because it's basically filler. Because they clearly like didn't have anything else for them to do. Like if they didn't eat that, and if they weren't basically drunk, then this episode would have ended a lot quicker. So it was definitely just filler stuff. Um, but then you see back on the ship, that guy that I forgot the name of, he's like drunk too, and he's acting weird. And then he picks up a box of animal crackers, and he's like, "Oh, animal crackers!" Because apparently he loves animal crackers. But then Piper went to go find help because she didn't know what was going on. But then while she was gone, uh, that guy that I forgot the name of, he was just left there alone with Neil Patrick Harris. So then somehow he just like slipped out of the handcuffs, knocked out that guy, and then escaped. So then Piper came back in, and she was like, "Oh no!" So then she checked to make sure that that guy was all right, and he was. But now the bounty hunter is on the loose. And back to Gemma and Daisy. So they're going through the casino and trying to find Fitz, and then they're like still drunk the whole time. And then they go to the bar, and then they just keep talking, and then they lose track of each other. Then they crawl under a table, and they're talking again. And there's not really much here that they're doing. But then they hear that signal that Enoch sent to Fitz. Um, well, the one where it was like blurred sound when he was manually shut off. So then they know that Enoch is there, and they know that Fitz is there. So then they kind of like follow the sound, and then there, for some reason, a fight breaks out in the casino, and then Daisy basically ends up kicking everyone's butt because she's OP, and she's also super hot, so maybe that makes her more powerful. Uh, yeah. So then, Gemma is still looking for Fitz, and then she's talking to this guard that's like in front. Like she knows that Fitz is in that dungeon, so she's talking to the guard that's in front of that door, and then she's like, "Hey man, you need to let me in." And then he's like, lady, you're pretty drunk. You've had too many drinks tonight. You don't really know what you're talking about, so just go home, get some rest, and, come back tomorrow and you'll be all good. But then she was like, no, I'm not drunk. And then he says, lady, I saw you sitting under that table talking to your friend for 30 minutes. She was like, oh, that long? So yeah, they basically had that conversation. And then after Enoch and Fitz got the door open, so like the door just burst open, and then Fitz walked out, and Gemma was like, well, she didn't say anything. She kind of just stood there and stared at him, and then he said, Gemma, and then obviously they're married, or like going to be married. I don't know. Like I said, it's confusing. They got married last season, but she said future husband and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's confusing. But then, so they're about to like run into each other's arms and embrace. But then, a portal opens, and then Neil Patrick Harris, the bounty hunter, grabs Fitz, and then opens another portal and gets out of there. So Fitz got kidnapped. And then Enoch walks out of the room. He sees Gemma, and then he says, "You should not be here." So now I don't really know what's going to happen next. So they're still trying to save Fitz. Next episode is going to be very heavily on Earth, dealing more with Sarge, and Deacon is coming back. I think that's his name. It's basically Gemma and Fitz's son from the future, I guess. I said, just started watching this show next year. I'm just going by the knowledge that I have. And this is kind of a long review, but I'm still really loving this show. I hope you are too. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you in my next video so I can bestow all my Marvel knowledge upon you.